to our adjudicator, faculty coordinator, and participants. And Shraddha Bajpai, the student coordinator of National Debate Competition. Here is a big welcome for our guest, Mr. Vishya Vincent Sir. Sir is a technology, media, telecom lawyer with 6 years of experience, currently working at Legal Counsel for InMovie Group, a Singapore-based ad tech platform. Previously associated with the Ola Group, a technology platform of transportation services, a member of initial team at Ola and set up the legal process there. Also worked with the corporate, commercial, and TMT teams at Deer and Deer Associates and DS Law Associates, now Link Legal. We welcome you, sir.
Welcome,
We
sir.
also have our faculty coordinator, Mrs. Deepa Srivastava, ma'am, who is an assistant professor of PIMR Department of Law. Ma'am is working in law academics from past 10 years. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
The Prestige family is very pleased to have you amongst us in the event of National Debate Competition 2020. We are really excited to hear out participants and wish that this event leaves the best mark in our memory. The room is ready and the tables are set. So let's start with our awaited Padma Shri Dr. N.N. Jain National Debate Competition 2010.
Welcome to all the participants. And yeah, I think now you can take the session ahead.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction. And first and foremost, let me express my gratitude to the Department of Law. Thank you for having me over. It's a rather innovative way of conducting a debate, and looking forward to this. And right, so let's just move ahead on with the motion and start the debate. The motion we are debating today is whether free medical testing in India is justified. The team that speaks for the motion is DB6. The team that speaks against the motion is DB47. I'd request the speaker from DB6 to come forward and initiate her speech.
Good morning to all the fraternity, Mr. Speaker. I am DB6 and I will like to produce myself, and I will going to speak for the motion. And over here, first of all, we are having about to start that whether the pre-medical testing is justified in India or not. I would like to just start with a quote. It is health that the real wealth, and not the pieces of gold and silver. It is said by our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. Over here, why I'm quoting this quote? Because everyone is stating that if we do this type of work to give free medical treatment and facilities to all the people, which is like 135 crore of population in India, which will cost and which will kick us as the economy, and we will get to a very downfall towards our economy. But over here, the life of the people are much more important than the wealth, than the economy, than the money. And yes, our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, has given a lot of working wages to the peoples, and also had been able to collect some kind of funds to follow this type of different procedures for the people of India, and to get them recovered and help them to defeat this coronavirus. Over here, I would like to just start with some of the numericals which I have been researched till date, and which is total cases in India is 85,000, and which are not as much as some of the countries which are developed nations of the world and one of the leaders of the world, like USA, UK, Russia, but they are also not being able to get control over the coronavirus. But in India, the research work is going on, and in India, the particular thing is that it is not that much into the force that coronavirus has affected most of us. But if we will not take care of it, we can get into much big trouble. We don't have that much of alliance like many of the developed countries has. But the right procedure we have to follow is the testing method. If the testing method will be perfect and particular, and which will be given to everyone in this country, it should be free, because now we say total 135 crore population is in India, but out of which 23.6% of population comes under the below poverty line, which includes about 276 million of the population. And this kind of ratio and this kind of measurement has been taken by World Bank, which can be clearly seen that this below poverty line persons cannot afford this type of heavily charged testing system. So first of all, we need to stop this coronavirus epidemic by using the testing method. If we provide free testing, first of all, what benefits we are going to get? First benefit, we are going to have a particular knowledge of the number who are affected by coronavirus, and by having that knowledge, we are able to treat them in a very good manner, and we can break out the chain which is affecting for a long time. And if this chain, my 4 minutes are over.
Yes, Pranjal, your time, that's your time. I mean, that's the buzzer indicates that time is up. You will have to conclude here. I'll give you another 30 seconds to conclude.
Okay.
I'll give you another 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you, sir. If over here, if we follow the pre-testing method, first of all, I know that it will kick down us as an economy, but it will clearly be seen that we are able to test and cure the coronavirus easily if it is on the beginning stage, and we are able to break that chain, and we are able to break this chain, and we are able to kick off this corona epidemic, and we can be a very healthy and wealthy nation again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pranjal. We will now move on to the speaker against the motion, DB 47.
Sir, a small clarification before that. Am I not supposed to ask Mr. Patel questions on his speech?
You can go ahead.
Right now?
If you have a point of clarification, point of information, you can go ahead right now.
Is it the same as the rebuttal?
Excuse me. But the point of clarification will be done firstly when you have spoken against the motion. You will get clarification time.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Where both the participants can have a rebuttal. We are also having rebuttal round now.
Right.
So where there you can ask your clarification.
Okay, so the rebuttal round comes right at the end.
Yeah,
Okay.
at the end.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, so a very good afternoon to all in one present here. Now, India is a country of many contradictions. On the one hand, we have migrant laborers who are struggling to reach home. They're walking miles in the harsh summer sun without any money in their pocket to buy food. They have been evicted from their houses. And the only thing that accompanies them on this journey is the sense of abandonment, that they have been abandoned by the world and just left to die. On the other hand, we have people like you and I, people who are sitting in our air-conditioned houses, ensconced in a sense of privilege, in a sense of comfort, in security. And because these contradictions have been woven into the very fabric of our society, that I speak today against the motion. I will try to establish why free testing for COVID-19 in India is not justified. It is not justified, number one, because of the very contradictions I spoke of. When Mr. Patel, my worthy opponent, spoke about the many millions of people who live under the poverty line, he overlooked the many people who do not. Many people who have the capacity to pay for their tests. Now, what will happen if you do force private entities to produce and manufacture tests and throw them away without breaking even? Two things might happen. Number one, these manufacturers might, out of the goodness of their heart, keep producing, which will definitely push them into bankruptcy. Now, not only bankruptcy, during this period of retrenchment, thousands of employees will also lose their jobs. But this is just the better of the situations. The worst case situation is if these manufacturers stop, in fact, producing these tests, which after the Supreme Court ruled that tests must be made free, Thydocare and several other private diagnostic laboratories stopped producing tests. Now, in the global fight against the coronavirus pandemic, testing is the most important guiding principle. Without testing, it's like fighting fire blindfolded. As my worthy opponent pointed out, the many-fold benefits of testing, I will not refute any of that. I will not refute any of that, and nor do I seek to make a very arrogant, insensitive argument, prioritizing the economy over the lives of thousands. My point here is simply that because of the contradictions, because of the manifold divisions in society, we do not need a one-size-fits-all policy. We do not need this policy because while there are many people languishing in poverty and hunger, there are thousands of people who live ensconced in comfort and in privilege who can afford these tests. I will borrow one phrase from the lexicon of climate policy: common but differentiated responsibility with respective capabilities. This, I think, is the most important phrase that can drive our fight against this global pandemic, because we all have respective capabilities and we all have one common but differentiated capacities, and that should be respected. While I might be able to pay the 3,500 that a laboratory requires to manufacture the tests, someone from a remote village might not be able to do the same. But should testing be made free for everyone? Is the government, now the pertinent question is the government prepared to deal with the financial distress this will cause? Because fighting coronavirus is not a zero-sum game. It's not, because if it leaves after we've emerged from this pandemic, and I surely hope that we do, after we've emerged from this pandemic, I hope we do not have people languishing in hunger, in poverty, people dying, because this is the one lesson we can actually learn from the influenza. The influenza in 1918, which claimed the lives of 14 to 17 million people in India alone, which was the highest death toll. Now, I will just wrap up. So this is the lesson that we can learn from the influenza pandemic, is that while millions of people, according to official records, died from influenza, there were thousands and thousands who died from hunger, who died because of other correlated factors. And just because we are fighting on one front does not mean we get to abandon all others. We do not get to abandon people in this time of dire necessity. We have to respect individual capacity, and that is why this.
You've gone on mute, Avastika.
Yes, so the time is over.
Time's up. All right. So the timekeeper can let me know the time that both the participants have taken, and I'll take a note of it.
Yes, sir. So the time for DAB 6 is 4 minutes 12 seconds plus 29 seconds extra which you permitted. And so for DAB 47 it is 4 minutes 50 seconds.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. So now we can move to the rebuttals.
So is there any point of clarification you want from DAB 47?
You're asking me?
Yes, sir.
No, none from my end.
Okay. Now we can move on to our rebuttal round. So shall we start?
We can proceed.
Yes, sir. So kindly ask any one of the debater to start it.
We will start off in the reverse manner. Avastika, I think you can start off with your rebuttals, and Pranjal, you can follow.
So one clarification: is it a rebuttal in the sense that I have to present and I have to refute his argument, or do I have to ask pointed questions?
You could do both.
I can do both. Okay, right. Great. So first of all, I have one question to Mr. Patel. Mr. Patel, you spoke about the number of cases currently in India, which is 85,000. Which is the last record.
85,760.
Thank you for the accuracy. My question is that is it possible because of the fact that private entities are not allowed to manufacture the RT-PCR RNA test, which is considered to be the gold standard for COVID-19 testing, because not enough private entities, not enough private laboratories are manufacturing these tests, and that our testing numbers are not high enough, which is one of the reasons why we have not as many cases as some developed countries, as you pointed out. Is it possible that because not enough testing is done, that we do not actually get the accurate, complete, holistic picture?
Okay, over here, firstly, I would like to say that it is not completely banned or completely stopped by the private government or private entities. Private entities. But over here, it is one of the most special things. The government is totally trying to get the particular number of cases in a very precise manner. The another thing is that the government has given special allowances to the private entities to take the money from the people who want to give, and also they are also conducting their laboratory tests and etc. things. Another thing which I wanted to mention, according to your question, is the government has given about 17,287 crores as a funding for the coronavirus treatment. Okay, and here the government is trying to do their best thing. That's why if any kind of testing is getting done, if there is any kind of as they have built an application known as Arogya Setu app, which divides them in a particular section, that if any person is having a problem like that, if he is claiming into it, the doctor officials will go into it and check and have a answer that if he is affected by it or not. That's why I can particularly say that, and I can say that government is trying their best. If people contribute equally towards the doctors, towards the government, I bet.
Pranjal, request you to keep your response
this,
precise and short because it's taking up her time.
Okay, sorry. I will wrap up that if the humans, if the people of India will give same kind of coordination with the doctors and with the government, I bet that coronavirus will be not a big problem for us to solve.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Patel. Two things that I have to note is, number one, you said that even the government has made a concession to the private diagnostic laboratories that they are allowed to charge people who are willing to pay. This in itself is a dilution of the previous stance of the government, which was more of a hardline stance that it must be free for all, which is the topic of the debate today. Should it be free or should it be not free? Should it be not? If it's not free at all, then if it's not free, then we could look into the many distinctions. Absolutely. And another thing is, you mentioned treatment, and there's a difference between testing and treatment. Now, just one single statistical information that I would like to provide is there are 511 laboratories for a population of 1.3 billion people. Just 511 laboratories which are allowed to manufacture these testing kits. Now, if we allow the free market to operate in this situation, then it would only allow the demand and supply forces to reach a point of equilibrium, and it would automatically be the... Sir, am I allowed to just finish my sentence?
I'll give you 30 seconds to conclude.
All right, great, thanks. So if the demand and supply forces are allowed to interact, that would automatically mean that the price is the lowest minimum price, which means that these companies are not being shoved into bankruptcy. These companies are not being shoved into dissolution, but at the same time, the economy is also taken care of in a way. So that I think with that, I would like to conclude. I hope everybody is safe and just healthy wherever they are.
Thank you, Astika. We would also give time to Pranjal, right? I mean, that's the format. He would also get separate time for Sir rebuttals. Yes. So Pranjal, you may proceed.
So firstly, I'll answer the opposition's question. And I know that there is a great like of statistics that only 511 laboratories are there. But first of all, let us think. As I said, that if any one person wanted to get a treatment from a private entity hospital by paying some kind of money, I can't force them to just take a free medical testing. as I am giving, as the government is telling that free medical testing is being given to the needy people, not to the every people who does not need it, or else it will be a kind of a statistical thing that every person who does need or do not need will have it and clearly say, I am having a coronavirus, please treat me, please have a test on me. But there is no thing, and it's a waste of money and as well as the other things. By developing this type of method of Arogya Setu app, where we have to fill our details that which kind of problems we are having with. If we have breathing problem, if we have cough, cold for a kind of long period for a week and all, then doctors are going there for a free medical checkup. That's why I am telling that it's not a waste of funding. And total, as all we know about economical things, our Prime Minister PM Modi has started a fund called PM Cares, in which he has provided about thousands of crores of rupees to the people for not just for their treatment purposes, but for their working purposes, for their wages purposes, which will help our economy to stand to that particular position. And what do I need to say is, as an example, let's take one of the richest man of India, like Mr. Ambani. If Mr. Ambani gets into the disease like coronavirus, would he be doing like this type of free medical treatment from the government hospitals, or I will just wrap it up fast, or he will take this type of or he will go to the private entity hospital, which will be means private entity hospital, as he can pay for that much amount. And like we all know that this is very a vague argument to say that it has to be rather free for all or free for someone who can't pay. We don't have enough time to justify or eliminate those people who are able to buy or who are not able to buy. We are just here to treat people, cure people. So I would like to say that I propose this motion with my full and final statements that the free medical testing is justified in India. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranjal. Thank you, Avastika, as well. Thank you for both your arguments. And in terms of the format, what is required next, Shraddha, if you could help me out here?
Okay. So now I request our faculty coordinator, Mrs. Deepa Sivasaya ma'am, to give the vote of thanks.
But Shraddha, if adjudicator sir is willing to take any clarifications, he can. Sir, you want to take any clarifications from the participants?
No clarification. Is it possible to give feedback? I mean, I won't really divulge on the marking as such, but just general feedback is something I want to give.
Sure.
So I mean, getting out of the debate, right? I mean, understanding the format of the debate. I mean, something that has been disclosed beforehand is the timing of the debate, right? I mean, the time slot that you get to speak. It's 3+1, and it's not impromptu. It's something that you've known beforehand, and you had to plan your speech accordingly. So time your speech. I mean, both of you exceeded your time, and that's something that you can probably look into or take care of in the further rounds. Also stick to the motion. I mean, don't deviate on I mean, I won't really get into which parts, but I mean, stick to the debate and understand the motion as well, right? I mean, not saying that any of you did not, but just a general observation that, I mean, let's look at the motion again. Is free testing in India justified? So those who speak for the motion will have to justify that yes, free testing is the need, and that's what needs to be done, right? And those who go against will probably say no, that's not possible, right? And there have to be justifications regarding it. And that's where we need to stick to, right? I mean, that's the core argument in the debate, right? We don't need to move into other aspects, right? And a few things that could come out would, I mean, let's say for the motion, maybe you could give a comparative analysis of what's happening in the other countries, countries that are poorer than us, if they're dealing with it in a better manner. I mean, that's an argument that you can use against somebody who's saying it's not possible to do a free testing. You can always compare India, and you always have to link this question to the circumstances in India, right? I mean, this debate is very closely linked to the circumstances prevailing in India. It's not a European nation. So you always have to bring out that background to the forefront and say, see, this is what's happening here, right? This is what our situation is, which is why this is required, right? I mean, it's not just generally why free testing is good or bad. It's also linked to the background that we have here, right? So that's one suggestion. And for somebody who's going against, yes, economic viability, I mean, it's a fair argument to say that a complete free testing is probably not, I mean, making it free for everyone may not be viable. And for those, I mean, you also have to, that's a fair argument, to be honest. I mean, to say that making it free for all is not something that is justiciable. I mean, I'm not, without getting into whether, in fact, no, that brings me to the object of any debate for that matter. I mean, it's not necessarily to prove one is right and one is wrong, right? We always get into a debate to get to a conclusion and to understand what is the best possible way forward without necessarily getting into the competitive aspect of it. What is the point of a debate? The point of a debate is to understand each other's arguments and then come to a conclusion, right? So if I were to hear out both your arguments, the understanding that I get is, right, and that's the balance that actually both of you appear to have got into towards the end, right? I mean, that a free testing for all may not be possible. However, I mean, those who spoke for the motion, I mean, towards the end, I understand that you said we don't really have the time for it. There's a dire need of the circumstances which requires us to do it for all. So, I mean, we don't really appear to have gotten to a balance, but just in a general, I mean, not necessarily related to this competition. The object of a debate is always to come to a conclusion and move forward, right? Not here, I mean, generally in life as well, right? I mean, it's not to prove somebody else wrong and to prove yourself. So that's something that you can take note of in life in general. About this competition, I think, like I said, I mean, stick to the motion, stick to the timelines given, because this is something that is known to you beforehand. This is not an impromptu debate. So that's something that you could have planned better. And that's about it.
So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us.
yeah. So good afternoon, everyone, to the adjudicator, sir, to the participants, and to our OC members. I, Deepa Srivastava, Faculty Coordinator, on behalf of the PIMR Department of Law, would like to extend my gratitude towards without whom we couldn't have pulled off this event, like our judges, our institution, and to the organizing committee. And they have worked tirelessly day and night to make this event a reality. And so I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to be here today and for making this event a great success. Have a great day ahead. Stay safe, and stay home. And see you in our next session, in the quarterfinals and in the semifinals. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So Shraddha, can
Thank you all.
participants leave?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, they can leave.
Participants, you can
Very
leave.
much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for being there. Ma'am, you can kindly stop the recording.
Recording off करूं?
Yes, ma'am.